The world has never been this noisy, but your greatest weapon is absolute silence in the midst of this noise. Bruce Lee shared a profound secret in his famous 1971 interview, "Silence sharpens the mind." We are in our second lesson. I'm not making these videos for nothing. These are things I believe in and am certain will change your life if applied. Bruce Lee had cracked the codes of life. An intelligent person will definitely learn something from him and will definitely see changes in their life. At the very least, they will be more peaceful. This is not just a fighter's strategy, but an immense power that modern quantum physics and neuroscience are just beginning to discover. Think about it. What makes a laser so sharp is the concentration of energy in a single point and its lack of dispersion. The human mind is no different. It disperses in noise, but in silence, it becomes as hard and sharp as a diamond. Today, modern motivational speakers say focus, but Bruce Lee said be silent. Because when you are silent, you begin to hear the frequency of the universe. In this lesson, we will discover how silence restructures your neurons and triggers the manifestation process of your reality. If nothing in your life seems clear, it is because your mind has become as dull as a blunt knife. Silence is not an empty void. It is the purest form of potential energy. Welcome to the Way of Bruce Lee Academy. Today, prepare to sharpen your mind like a sword. The modern world is like a giant noise machine designed to seize our minds. Notifications raining down from everywhere, the endless flow of information, and those unceasing voices inside our heads pull us away from our true selves. Bruce Lee sensed this danger decades ago and offered us a simple yet jarring solution. He saw silence not just as the absence of sound, but as a process of purification and sharpening. Most of us are afraid of being silent because silence leaves us alone with our real thoughts. Yet, according to Bruce Lee, for a sword to be forged, the fire must first die down and the steel must cool. Our minds can never reach that sharp point of focus while under a constant bombardment of stimuli. Silence is the only moment when the mind allows its own dust to settle. If your mind is like cloudy water, the only thing you need to do to clear it is to stop touching it and wait in silence. Bruce Lee believed that even in martial arts, the fastest strike is born from absolute stillness. Today we think we will succeed by constantly doing something. However, the greatest achievements sprout in those moments of deep void where the mind falls silent and universal intelligence takes over. Think about it, when was the last time you just sat and watched the noise of your mind like a stranger? In this lesson of the Academy, you will learn how to turn off that noise and use the power of silence like a sword. A person who cannot silence the noise within can never hear the whispers of opportunity in the outside world. Therefore, the first step is to realize that silence is not a deficiency but a magnificent fullness. Silence sharpens the mind because it prunes away everything that distracts, and what remains is only a pure, raw, and unstoppable will. Now, are you ready to dive into the scientific and spiritual roots of this deep silence? For Bruce Lee, silence was not just a physical stillness, it was a space for aligning with universal energy. When he spoke of emptying the mind, he was actually referring to that famous void in quantum physics, the zero-point field, where all possibilities reside. In the quantum world, a particle is everywhere until it is observed, but when the mind falls silent and simply observes, probabilities transform into reality. Bruce built his life by intuitively living this scientific truth, birthing every move from that profound emptiness. Modern science now proves that the gamma waves emitted by a silent mind trigger moments of genius and sudden insight. Bruce Lee's Be Water philosophy is like how water shows everything beneath it when it becomes still. Silence turns the mind into a projection device. The power of attraction we call manifestation cannot find an echo in a noisy mind because the universe responds to clarity and resolve. While building his own reality, Bruce chiseled away all unnecessary thought patterns like a sculptor. According to him, silence sharpens the mind because it prunes billions of distracting possibilities and locks onto the truth of the now. What quantum physicists today call the collapse of the wave function, Bruce personally applied while fighting or visualizing a goal. He moved not with the speed of thought, but with that absolute speed where thought does not exist. A silent mind is like an antenna connected directly to the vast library of universal information. If your mind is constantly screaming with regrets of the past or anxieties of the future, you can never catch the creative frequency of the present. By making silence a discipline, Bruce Lee succeeded in reprogramming his own DNA and destiny. Today, we in this academy are sharpening our minds using the same method. Remember, the most powerful explosions always follow in absolute silence. One who masters silence also masters their own quantum reality. As Bruce said, the void is actually the purest form of fullness. Bruce Lee knew that a person with a noisy mind could never reach their full potential, because to him, focus was not about choosing one thing, but about rejecting everything else. Silence is the noblest form of this rejection, and Bruce applied this as a discipline in every training session and every word. That moment of flawless performance we call flow state, in psychology is only possible in that corridor of silence where the inner voice falls quiet and the ego steps aside. Whether Bruce was fighting or contemplating life, he used his mind like a magnifying glass, becoming that silent power that ignites fire by focusing sunlight into a single point. Most of our minds are scattered. The shadows of the past and fears of the future drain our mental energy and dull us. Yet, when Bruce Lee said, "Silence sharpens the mind," he meant that a brain cleansed of mental parasites could pierce through any obstacle like a laser. He trained his mind every day just like his body. He viewed every unnecessary thought as a burden and discarded it. Modern psychology now confirms that the capacity for deep work increases when the mind completely detaches from the outside world and immerses itself in its own silence. In Bruce's philosophy, silence is not a defense mechanism but a strategic preparation for attack. Think of that absolute silence a tiger assumes while approaching its prey. At that moment, every muscle and every emotion is locked onto a single target. Bruce Lee's life was a reflection of this sharpness. He wasted neither a second nor an extra word. Through silence, his attention turned from the outside inward, giving him the power to see his own mistakes and correct them at light speed. For a person to discover the silence within themselves means awakening the giant within. If you cannot silence your mind, the noisy ideas of others will become your reality. This is why Bruce used silence like a fortress, and inside that fortress he built his own unique truth, Jeet Kune Do. The most important thing to understand in this lesson of the Academy is that a sharp mind can only be forged on the anvil of silence. For Bruce Lee, silence was not just about keeping quiet, it was the art of choosing words with the precision of a bullet. He believed that every word leaving our mouth is a quantum command sent to the universe, and these words alter the biology of our cells. When he said, "Silence sharpens the mind," he actually meant this. A person who silences their mind realizes the vibrational power of words and never wastes them. Bruce discovered the power of self-talk and affirmations long before modern motivational gurus. He never said, "I will try," because that word is a noise filled with doubt. Instead, he chose the clear and sharp resolve of "I will be," or "I will do," emerging from the depths of silence. In quantum physics, the observer's expectation determines the outcome of the experiment. Every word from Bruce Lee's mouth was his observer effect on his own reality. The principle taught in today's manifestation world, "You become what you say," is hidden in Bruce's famous 1969 Definite Chief Aim letter. Before writing that letter, he had silenced the noise in his mind and put down the vision coming from that deep silence. A person's constant complaining or negative talk causes the knife in their mind to dull a little more every day. However, every word from a mouth disciplined by silence is like a sharp scalpel that cuts and shapes reality. Bruce Lee saw his thoughts and words as waves of energy and used these waves like a laser to create the life he desired. If your manifestations are not coming true, it is because the noisy and contradictory words in your mind are canceling each other out. Bruce teaches us, first you submerge into silence to sharpen your mind, then you speak a single powerful word with that sharp mind. That single word is more creative than thousands of noisy sentences. Silence increases the value of the word. The word enables the intention to transform into matter. Now, consider how you can integrate that massive creative power Bruce derived from silence into your own life. In Bruce Lee's philosophy, knowing is not enough, we must apply. Willing is not enough, we must do. Silence is not just a theory, but your sharpest weapon that you must wield every morning you wake up and every time you face a challenge. Bruce was invincible because he could return to that silent center even in the heat of a fight. We too must learn to possess that silent room in the chaos of life. Using silence means creating that sacred space before reacting. Screaming immediately with anger or fear in the face of an event dulls the mind, but staying silent and observing the situation like a master sharpens it. Bruce Lee always spoke of pruning away the unnecessary, cut and discard the noisy people, the noisy habits, and the internal parasites that pull you down. Remember, the sharpness of a sword depends not just on the quality of the steel, but on the removal of excesses. A decision made with a silent mind is more effective than 1,000 decisions made with noise because it has universal clarity behind it. Bruce Lee's legacy whispers to us, when you master that silent depth within you, no noise outside can shake you. What we learned in this second lesson of the Academy is that silence is not passivity, but a state of alertness at the highest level. You are no longer ordinary people who just hear sounds. You are mind warriors who can read the frequencies within silence. From tomorrow, Start sharpening your mind on that anvil of absolute silence every day. Be like water, like Bruce, but never forget the silent and deep power within that water. Whatever you want to create in your quantum field, first plant it in that dark and fertile soil of silence. Noise ends, words fly away, but the reality born of silence remains forever. As we finish this lesson of the Bruce Lee Academy, ask yourself, is my mind as sharp as a sword, or am I a shadow lost in the noise? Our path is long, we will deepen with every video, and at the end of these 100 lessons, we will transform your mind into an unstoppable force. Remember, silence is just the beginning, true power begins when you discover who you are within that silence. For now, stay silent and stay sharp. Thank you for watching. See you in the next class. Goodbye.